The 2026 NFL Draft just revealed something that every Bears fan needs to understand about how championship windows close and open across this league. Welcome back to Bears News Fan Report, your daily destination for breaking news, strategic analysis, and exclusive insights about our Chicago Bears. I'm here bringing you the most important updates, draft developments, and roster moves that impact our team's future. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what I'm breaking down today connects directly to how the Bears are positioning themselves against NFC competition and what it means for our quarterback situation moving forward into next season. Let me paint you a picture of how the first round unfolded, because the story isn't just about who we picked. It's about the chess moves happening all around us in the NFC. Teams were moving aggressively at the top of this draft, trading up for quarterbacks, securing premium talent at critical positions, and making statements about their championship timelines. The Jets traded up to number 1 for Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. The Raiders grabbed Dante Moore from Oregon at 2. Quarterbacks flew off the board early as expected, but what happened late in the first round carries massive implications for how we view our division rivals and conference competitors over the next several years. The Chicago Bears made their selection at pick 25, and I'll get to the specific analysis of our choice in a moment. But first, I need you to understand the broader context of this draft class and how it impacts our competitive landscape. This wasn't just about addressing immediate needs. This was about organizations making calculated decisions about their futures, about when they expect to compete for Super Bowls, and about how they're managing the most important position in football. The quarterback position dominated the conversation at the top, but the real intrigue came from teams picking in the 20s and 30s who had to make difficult choices about their timelines and priorities. Our Bears went with Romello Height, an edge rusher out of Texas Tech. This pick makes total sense when you understand our defensive philosophy and what we're building on that side of the ball. Height brings length, athletic upside, and developmental potential that fits perfectly with our pass rush rotation. He's not an immediate starter, but he's the kind of player who can develop into a consistent pressure generator within a year or two. The Bears clearly identified edge rusher as a position where we needed depth and future starting potential, and Height checks those boxes. His college production showed flashes of dominance. His measurables are exactly what NFL teams covet in edge defenders, and his motor runs hot on every snap. This is smart, strategic roster building that addresses a real need while staying true to our board. But here's where the draft gets really interesting from a Bears perspective, and this is what I need you to stay focused on because it impacts how we should view the NFC landscape going forward. After we made our pick at 25, several more selections went off the board. The Chargers took an interior offensive lineman. The 49ers grabbed a defensive tackle. The Browns added another offensive tackle. Standard first-round picks addressing obvious roster needs. Then we got to pick 31, held by the Los Angeles Rams, and they made a selection that immediately changed the conversation around the NFC West and potentially the entire conference power structure. The Rams, sitting at pick 31 with Matthew Stafford still under center and coming off a season where they were competitive but not quite championship caliber, had multiple directions they could go. They could take a defensive player to bolster their secondary. They could add offensive line depth. They could grab a playmaker on offense to maximize Stafford's remaining window. Instead, they did something that signals exactly how they're thinking about their franchise timeline and what comes after their current quarterback era. The Los Angeles Rams selected Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama, with the 31st overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. This pick is absolutely fascinating for multiple reasons, and I want to break down exactly what it means for the Rams, for the NFC, and most importantly for us as Bears fans watching conference rivals make strategic moves. Ty Simpson comes from Alabama with the kind of pedigree that immediately gets NFL attention. He's got legitimate arm talent, having thrown for significant yardage in the SEC, which remains the most competitive conference in college football. His mechanics are clean, his decision-making showed improvement throughout his college career, and he's demonstrated the kind of poise in big games that translates to the professional level. Simpson isn't a finished product ready to start Week 1, but he's exactly the type of developmental quarterback project that teams can sit for a year or two behind an established starter. The Rams' decision to take Simpson tells us several critical things about how they view their roster and timeline. First, they're acknowledging that Matthew Stafford, despite his excellence when healthy, is approaching the end of his career. Stafford will be 38 years old next season, and while he's still capable of elite play, the Rams understand that quarterback windows close suddenly in this league. By drafting Simpson now, they're giving themselves a succession plan, rather than scrambling when Stafford eventually retires or declines. This is smart organizational planning that we've seen work for teams like the Packers with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, and the Chiefs before they had Patrick Mahomes. Second, the Rams are signaling that they believe their current roster construction can remain competitive while developing a young quarterback. They're not blowing everything up for a rebuild. They're threading the needle between competing now with Stafford and preparing for the future with Simpson. This dual timeline approach is incredibly difficult to execute, but when it works, it allows franchises to avoid the painful, multi-year rebuilding cycles that tank seasons and lose fan engagement. The Rams clearly believe they can win games in 2026 and 2027 with Stafford while Simpson learns the offense, studies NFL defenses, and prepares to eventually take over as the starter. Third, and this is crucial for Bears fans to understand, this move shows that the Rams are committed to remaining a factor in the NFC West and broader NFC playoff picture for the foreseeable future. They're not accepting mediocrity or a slow fade into irrelevance. They're actively planning for sustained success beyond their current quarterback, which means we'll be dealing with a competitive Rams team for years to come when we face them in the regular season and potentially in the playoffs. This matters because the NFC is incredibly competitive right now, and every team making smart long-term decisions impacts our path to championships. Let's talk specifically about Simpson's profile and what he brings to the Rams. At Alabama, he operated in a pro-style offense that prepared him well for NFL concepts. He showed the ability to go through full-field progressions, identify coverage pre-snap, and deliver accurate throws to all levels of the field. His arm strength is legitimate NFL caliber, allowing him to drive the ball into tight windows and stretch defenses vertically. He's mobile enough to extend plays outside the pocket and pick up first downs with his legs when necessary, though he's not a designed run threat like some modern quarterbacks. Simpson's biggest area for development is consistency, as he showed flashes of brilliance mixed with games where his decision-making was questionable. That's exactly the type of player who benefits from sitting and learning for a season or two before being thrust into starting responsibilities. The Rams' offensive infrastructure is perfect for developing a young quarterback. Sean McVay, despite some recent criticism, remains one of the brightest offensive minds in football. He's worked with quarterbacks from Jared Goff to Matthew Stafford and helped both reach Super Bowls. McVay's system emphasizes getting playmakers in space, utilizing play-action concepts, and creating easy throws through creative scheme design. Simpson will learn from one of the best coaches in the league while watching Stafford execute at a high level. That's an ideal developmental situation that maximizes his chances of becoming a successful NFL starter. From a Bears perspective, we need to monitor this situation closely because it directly impacts our competitive environment. The NFC North and NFC West don't play each other every year, but when we do face the Rams or meet them in the playoffs, understanding their quarterback situation matters enormously. More broadly, the fact that teams across the NFC are making aggressive moves to secure their quarterback futures should reinforce our confidence in Caleb Williams as our franchise cornerstone. While the Rams are drafting and developing, we already have our answer at the position, which gives us a massive advantage in building around him immediately. The Bears' decision to pass on quarterback in this draft and focus on defense makes complete sense, given that we have Williams locked in. We don't need to worry about succession planning or developmental projects at the most important position. We can focus every resource on surrounding Caleb with weapons, protecting him with offensive line talent, and building a defense that can win championships. The Rams taking Simpson actually validates our approach, showing that teams without established young quarterbacks must dedicate premium resources to solving that problem, while we can allocate those assets elsewhere. Looking at the complete first round, the Bears positioned themselves well. We addressed a real defensive need with height. We let the quarterback-needy teams chase passers, and we avoided reaching for positions where the value didn't align with our pick. The Rams taking Simpson at 31 means one fewer team competing for defensive talent or offensive weapons in future drafts as they focus resources on quarterback development. These are the subtle competitive advantages that accumulate over multiple draft cycles and eventually separate championship teams from perpetual rebuilders. Now, I want to hear directly from you in the comments. What do you think about the Rams taking Ty Simpson? Does this change how you view them as NFC competitors? Are you happy with the Bears' selection of Romello Height at 25? How do you feel about our overall draft strategy, knowing that other teams are still searching for their franchise quarterbacks while we have Caleb Williams? Drop your thoughts below because I read every comment, and your perspectives shape how we approach future content on this channel. The big picture takeaway here is that the 2026 draft reinforced several important truths about the NFL landscape. Quarterback remains the most valuable position. Teams are willing to invest premium picks and developmental prospects at that spot, and the Bears are in an enviable position with our signal caller already in place. The Rams made a smart strategic move for their future, but it's a move born from necessity rather than luxury. We don't have that same necessity, which allows us to build a complete roster around Williams and chase championships immediately, rather than planning for uncertain futures. Before you go, make sure you're subscribed to Bears News Fan Report and hit that notification bell so you never miss breaking news about our team. Drop a like if you found this analysis valuable, and share this video with fellow Bears fans who need to understand the complete draft picture. I'm here every single day bringing you the latest updates, strategic breakdowns, and exclusive insights about our Chicago Bears. Let's keep building toward that championship. Bear down.